and off to the storm. I run and run as the rains come, and I look up.
When I found out about my friend's death, I was in shock for a while. I didn't really believe that he was dead, and then I was just sad. That just lasted for a really long time.
I knew that something really hard was coming when they told me I needed to call home, and in that way my heart was a little prepared for it, but I wasn't prepared for the overwhelming numbness that came with it. He'd been climbing at this place called Martyrs Gap in Colorado Springs and had fallen about 100 feet, and he fell and died on impact.
I think the most difficult part was that I felt like I had no control over my own emotions. And several months after I thought I was done grieving, I went through a really, really hard time of grieving, probably the hardest process for me overall. I thought a lot about my friend's death, what it meant, what the purpose was, just suffering in general, and what that all meant. So just a lot of really deep questions go through my mind.
In real life, I'm very slow to get angry, and it's not something that I really struggle with. It's anger is something that's far from my heart usually, and so to be angry at times and to not even know what I was angry at was really hard.
I would definitely say people in my life that were just consistent with me, who let me cry with them when I needed to, and encourage me on really sad days, and just let me grieve with them, and encourage me to be gentle with myself and not be too involved with regular activities, but give myself some space to just go through that process.
And I remember feeling sad for the people on the outskirts because I didn't know how to invite them into the grief, but it also wasn't a place for them to be invited in, honestly. And I remember that being a hard thing is learning how to invite others into the grief because they need it as much as I do to begin to heal. Grief is easier and harder as you go on because you have less permission to grieve as the date gets farther and farther away. As they're being gentle with yourself, you have permission to be sad if you need to, but I don't have permission to wallow. Ryan knew who I was to the core and still loved me, and even without him I feel strong, and I feel okay, and I feel hopeful. And it's been a process to be able to say that, but to be able to say that is powerful. I realize that what I do now is going to directly impact how people see grief, and I see it as something that you can walk through. And I don't want to overcome it. I want to remember it. I want to remember this time of grief and say, yeah, that was really hard, but we made it.